Hi, Delilah. It's Mr. O. I hope that you're having an amazing day so far, and maybe even a silly day, because this story that we're going to read together is called Silly Sandwiches. Have you ever had a silly sandwich before? What is the silliest thing you have ever put on a sandwich? I bet that you have some pretty silly things you've put on there. Well, why don't we read the story and let's find out more? And this story is also by Anne Harth. All right, let's start. Mom was playing the piano. She played the piano a lot. Dylan opened a kitchen cupboard. His friend Jake opened another one. What's for lunch, Mom? Dylan called. The piano music stopped. Make yourself some sandwiches, Mom called. The music started again. What kind of sandwiches? Dylan asked. The music stopped. Any kind. Use your imagination. The music started again. What would you put on your sandwich, Delilah, if you could put anything on your sandwich? Maybe would you put candy on there? Or maybe peanut butter? Or maybe cheese? Let's see what Dylan and Jake put on their sandwiches. Any kind. Dylan grinned at Jake. Grinned is like another word for smiled. He put the bread on the table. Jake set out 2 plates. Let's see what you have, he said. They pulled out jars, boxes, and bags. The table was filled with food. They had peanut butter, mustard, and honey. Let's see. Well, let's see what they also had. They had raisins, sugar cubes, and cookies. Tiny marshmallows spilled from a bag. The chocolate chips weren't open yet. Oh boy, this is looking to be like a really good sandwich and a really silly sandwich. Jake looked at all the food. Now what? He said. Dylan rubbed his hands together. Dig in, he said. I'm starting with the peanut butter. Everything else will stick to it. Jake nodded. Good idea. Oh boy. The boys spread peanut butter on their bread. Jake reached for the marshmallows. Dylan opened the chocolate chips. Dylan sprinkled chocolate chips over the peanut butter. He sprinkled marshmallows over the chocolate chips. That sounds like my kind of sandwich, by the way. Raisins came next. The piano music stopped. Are you finding enough to eat? Mom called. Jake slapped a cookie on his sandwich. Dylan picked up a jar of mustard. Yes, he called. The piano music started again. Oh boy. Dylan went back to work. He spread mustard over the raisins. He dribbled honey over the mustard. He crumbled a coconut cookie over the honey. Finished, Dylan slapped a slice of bread on top. Oh my, look at those sandwiches that Dylan and Jake have in the picture. His sandwich was tall. He picked it up and looked at Jake. Jake picked his up too. They grinned at each other. They opened their mouths wide. They munched and chewed and swallowed. Do you see this silly cat up there? Yum, said Dylan. Best sandwich I've ever had, said Jake. The sandwiches were gone. Oh, sorry, the sandwiches were soon gone. The piano music stopped. Have you boys eaten your sandwiches? Mom called. Yes, Dylan answered. What kind did you make? Dylan looked at Jake. Jake shrugged and Dylan laughed. Silly sandwiches. That was a silly story. Delilah, I was hoping you could help me answer these questions about the story. Do you remember this one? Which ingredients from the silly sandwich are not usually found in a regular sandwich? Well, let's go back and look at the list of ingredients because there were a lot there. So they had peanut butter. Well, that's fairly normal, I think, for a sandwich. Mustard. That's also pretty normal for a sandwich. What about honey? I've never had honey on my sandwich before, but maybe that's possible. How about raisins? That seems pretty silly. What about sugar cubes? That also seems pretty silly. And cookies? Yeah, I think that's pretty silly too. Tiny marshmallows? That might be silly, although sometimes I've put marshmallow fluff on my sandwiches before. And chocolate chips? Yeah, that's probably pretty silly. So, yeah, those are some of the silly ingredients, maybe not found on a typical or regular sandwich. And do you think, Delilah, that Dylan's mom would have approved of the sandwiches they made? Why or why not? My guess is that she probably would not have approved of the sandwiches, only because there were a lot of junk food, maybe with a lot of sugar. And mom would have wanted something more healthy for Dylan and Jake, maybe some vegetables like lettuce or tomato, or uh, or maybe some jam or jelly to go with the peanut butter. So yeah, probably not approved of the sandwiches. How would you describe Jake and Dylan? I would say that they're pretty silly too. Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed this story called Silly Sandwiches by Anne Harth, and I hope to read again with you soon, Delilah. Take care. Bye.